Hello and welcome to the OKPreps Extra Show. I'm Patrick Prince, joined as always by Barry Lewis on Thanksgiving week. Barry, good to be with you. Let's start with the resignation of Josh Blankenship at Broken Arrow. We just got the news a couple hours ago. Your reaction to the news?
Yes, I don't think that anybody who follows Broken Arrow football was surprised that there was going to be a change in the head coaching position after the season. At least it looked like probably when the season ended, there was probably 80 to 90% chance that there was probably going to be a change. It's just like with Kevin Wilson at TU the other day. You understand why the change is made, but still, it's when you think of the high hopes that there were when each of them were hired, it is sad that the situation has occurred where it is felt that a change has to be made because the hopes and dreams they had when they took the job aren't fully realized at least as far as wins and losses were concerned. And obviously, Josh has been in the Blankenship family, has been a big part of the local sports scene for a very long time. And he did some good things at Broken Arrow. The first couple of years weren't bad, and they were so close to winning, to getting to the championship game back in 2021, I believe it was his first year. Just fell short. A call didn't go their way late in the game against Union, and maybe things would have been different if they get to the championship game that year. And then last year, a lot of people thought that there was going to be a change after last season because that was Broken Arrow's worst year in a long time. But they gave him a fourth year, and Broken Arrow did make progress this year. The new Broken Arrow coach, whoever it is going to be taking over a Broken Arrow program in much better shape after this season than they would have after last season. Broken Arrow was so close. You look even at the last game they played in the first round of the playoffs, they gained about twice as many yards as Deer Creek. They did everything but win that game. I thought the last two games they played, their offense and defense was really putting it together, and you could see the progress at so many times this year. The bottom line is it's wins and losses, and also dwindling fan interest at Broken Arrow. Put all that together, you're not surprised that a change is being made.
If you're a Broken Arrow, who are you calling?
Dane Evans.
Okay, explain.
Owasso's quarterback guru and former TU and CFL standout. And you also look into Bixby's coordinators.
Has Dane Evans coached much other than this year?
No, because this is his first year out of pro football. So, well, although he did get some time. I take that back. During the COVID year when the CFL canceled the season, he did get some time coaching that year. So he's got probably it'd be fair to say he's got 2 years of experience coaching.
Are there any small school coaches in the area, successful small school coaches that would be ready for such a jump, you think, Barry?
Oh, it depends what you qualify as small school. Of course, who wouldn't want to have Wagnersdale Condit?
That's kind of one of the names that was in my head.
But he's got a great situation at Wagner, obviously. And after all, they named the stadium after him. So doubtful that he'd want to leave there. And I mean, you've got a lot of good qualified 3A and 2A coaches in the area who you would think, I mean, look at Jerry Rickey at Lincoln Christian.
Yep.
Jared McCoy at Metro Christian, that I think they would do a great job at Broken Arrow, but they're also in great situations where they're at right now.
What about something like Travis Hill at Muskogee?
Sure, and he knows Broken Arrow. He was their defensive coordinator when they won the state championship. So I think he could be a good fit there.
Bobby Klink?
Bobby, I think he would be someone I would definitely be interested in if I was a school looking for a head coach. My only reservation is I don't think he left Broken Arrow. If memory serves me right, I don't think he left Broken Arrow on great terms.
Okay,
Uh,
last
it's
name I'll
not,
throw at you. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, I
no,
interrupted.
I
Go
don't
ahead.
think it was a smooth departure there. Um, I don't, yeah, I think, so I don't look at Bobby Klink, and who's done a great job at Sand Springs. And I think they've got a real good shot to get to the state championship game. I just don't think that situation necessarily would be a good fit.
All right, last name I'll throw at you. Brent Marley at Rejoice Christian.
Yeah, it's another outstanding coach, no doubt about it. Um, but again, I think he is really happy at Rejoice. It's really, there's something to be said for being in a position you love, and it's a really good situation that he's got there.
Yeah, great facilities, great fan base, good program. He's in a nice suburb of Owasso.
I
It's a
mean, and
great
all those
situation.
schools that we're also talking about are Christian schools, and they are it is a different type of coaching situation. I think they really, because they're strong in their faith, they really enjoy that environment.
Yeah, good point. Good point. All right, let's talk a little Jinx Union. You and I were both there last week to see Jinx win handedly over Union. And Barry, I thought this even before I saw that he had rushed for over 200 yards. It's the best I've ever seen KD Jones look. What did you think of his performance?
I wouldn't disagree with you, Patrick. I've seen KD numerous occasions, and I would agree with you. I mean, it's hard to top how he looked last Friday against Union. Uh, Although he was really good in last year's playoff game against Union, but I think that was probably the best that I've seen him. He's just getting better and better. He was an all-world offensive player of the year finalist last year. And he's got a great shot to be an offensive player of the year finalist this year as well. He's just getting better and better. I think he's um, obviously he did well last year, but I think the change in offensive philosophy is also
Mhm.
suited him well too.
I mean, Jinx dominated up front and he ran through some pretty big holes, no doubt about it. But he was breaking tackles and he was as shifty as I've ever seen him. I mean, it was like the holes were there, but then he dodged some defenders as well. It was just, I mean, were you surprised that Jinx dominated up front the way they did?
The way they did, yes. I mean, and I was surprised that was 42-7. After all, I thought it was going to be a game down to the wire, and
Sure.
and I thought, hey, expect the unexpected in this game, and because it's backyard bowl rivals, and so I thought, well, because everyone else thinks Jenks is going to win, I thought I'll pick Union. I mean, because expect the unexpected in the game. So the unexpected happened. It was just not the type of unexpected happened. The blowout happened, 42-7.
I was
Uh,
on the I was on the field for the first half, Barry. It just felt like even from the beginning when the game was still when it was still in doubt, um, it just felt to me that Jinx wanted it more. It just seemed like Jinx was up. Granted, they were at home. There was some excitement. I mean, and the band was doing great. And I mean, I get all that, but they just seemed to want it more. Did you get that feeling in the press box watching the first half?
I, I, again, I'm not going to disagree with you on that. Again, I think maybe because they were at home and they had all their fans there, and there weren't very many Union fans there, and it just reminded me, the atmosphere reminded me of around circa 1990 in the Jenks Union rivalry, before the Jenks Union rivalry really became Jenks Union. That it wasn't a full house. It was still a good rivalry, more fans than your typical game, but it just wasn't the typical atmosphere. And maybe that was because there weren't many Union fans there. And because I think Union has, as we talked about last week, Jenks is peaking at the right time. I think there's a confidence there that Jenks has a confidence that they have a real shot to win the gold ball. And I don't think there was that confidence on the Union side. I think that probably left them after the Edmond Memorial game in week 10. Try as they might, I don't think it was a conscious thing. It's one of those things that If you're going to go on and win a state championship, you're probably not going to lose that Week 10 game like they did to Edmond Memorial. So, try as hard as they did, I think they probably didn't bring the same confidence and energy that a Jenks did, which is really on a good roll.
Yeah, and the Jinx defense kind of did what Jinx defense has been doing. They really made it tough on Shaker-Reisig. He was running for his life a lot of the game. Had some flashes of what we've seen Shaker do, but yeah, it was a tough game for him. What's his legacy, Barry? You know, he won a state title as a freshman at Jinx. Then the shocking transfer to Union. What do you think? What's Shaker-Reisig's legacy before he goes off, presumably to Boston College, unless he changes his mind? He's got a few weeks to change his mind if he so chooses to.
Oh, he's got 1 week.
Oh, that's right. 1 week. Yeah. Sorry. Calendars are hard.
Although theoretically, there's nothing that forces him to sign anyone to sign next Wednesday. But I haven't heard anything to say that he won't sign next Wednesday. But there are some people as we head to signing day that surprise you by not signing in the early period. So we'll see what happens. But his legacy, I think, in the short term the longer term will be kinder to him. The short term the legacy will be what if he had stayed at Jenks? He won a state title his freshman year, and what could have happened if he and all the other players who left Jenks and became starters at Union, what would have happened if they would have remained at Jenks? I think that'll be the short-term legacy, a good career, but as we talked about in last week's show, maybe a little bit of underachievement, at least from a team standpoint. Longer term, I think it'll be kinder to Shaker. Didn't win any state titles at Union, but still ends his high school career with 1 state title as a freshman, the only freshman quarterback to win a state title, starting quarterback. Something to be said for that. And you look at his career stats, they are pretty impressive. His overall 1-loss record is pretty impressive too. So I think longer term, his career will be looked back more fondly than it is probably right now. And of course, again, a lot of that will be determined by what happens in his college career.
Yeah, that's a good point, Barry. A lot of high school kids don't win any state titles at all, let alone win one as a freshman. So let's acknowledge how impressive that is.
Sam Bradford didn't win a state title.
That's right.
In fact, yeah, we were just talking about that in a meeting about an hour ago. It's like, but he was in the semifinals in 2004 in his junior year. He was within a minute of beating Jenks in the semifinals, and then Jenks has some Jenks magic and pulls out the win. And then Sam Bradford's senior year it didn't go well at all. But I think longer term, you look back at the Sam Bradford years better than maybe in the shorter term when there was that disappointment that he couldn't take Putnam North in football to the championship game. He also, people forget, he was a good basketball player too, and he was able to go to the state tournament in basketball. In fact, he was like my 3rd-team All-State selection in basketball. I rated in his senior year higher in basketball than I did in football for what he actually did as an athlete his senior year.
All right, let's talk Jenks-Owasso 6A1 semifinals Friday at Claremore. Another rematch. How you seeing that one, Barry?
Owasso's been the best team all year long. Jenks has been the best team the last 2 months. Jenks is peaking at the right time. Owasso's playing at a good level, but not the level they were playing earlier in the year, especially when they beat Jenks in the second game of the season. That was that earlier meeting was a tie game at half, and then Owasso steamrolled Jenks in the second half. I think this is a much different Jenks team than it was back in that second week of the season. Everyone's gelling. All those transfers now are fully have made that transition. Jenks is playing about as well in all phases as you would want. Should be a great game.
Do you know who you're picking in that game?
I am picking officially Owasso because this has been my rule throughout the years. I am consistent if I'm down before the playoffs start, picking a team to win it all, unless there's just something like something incredible happens. I'm sticking with that pick. I'm not going to play it both ways, even though sort of right now I'm rationalizing the pick. So I picked Owasso to start the playoffs, so I'm going to stick with Owasso. And I also said at the midway point of the season, when Owasso was 5-0, and I had picked them to lose the 3 of those first 5 games, that I was not going to pick against Owasso again, regardless.
And
So I'm picking Owasso.
now Caleb Barnett did not play in that game, right? Or did he?
Caleb played in the first Owasso game, but he became eligible just hours before the game, and that's really not enough time to really have him involved much in the offense. Didn't play that much. I think he caught a couple short passes, just really wasn't involved in the game plan. And really, to get him fully into the game plan, it took about half a season.
Yeah.
I mean, because you had the eligibility thing, and then you had just being a player coming in from Broken Arrow. You had those things, but now he's very much a big part of their plan.
Barry, why don't you share a little bit about what happened with Regent-Prep and their dramatic win in the playoffs last week?
Wow. Regent, of course, Regent wins 57-54 at Ringling. Regent led most of the game at Ringling, and Ringling is one of those perennial small school powers. It's really tough to win at Ringling. Regent-Prep's about ready to pull off the win. Ringling scores with about 2 minutes left. And then Regent, this is so impressive to do this at Ringling. They respond with a game-winning drive, and then we got the video up at OKPrepsExtra.com of John-Mark-Roller. Really nifty touchdown pass with 21 seconds to go to win 57-54. I mean, that was really impressive.
Well, and didn't he? I mean, I saw the video, but it's been a couple of days. He like scrambled to his left,
Did he
kind of
showed
threw
back against towards the
yeah,
middle of the field.
not
So that was not an easy throw,
no.
and it wasn't an easy catch, but it was just a great play all around. What a clutch play that was. So I think if I'm a major college, that you should be taking a look at him.
Who do
I
they
mean,
got?
his stats are incredible. I mean, stats aren't everything, but we'll just say it right now. Look for him in this week's final edition of the season of the All World Rankings.
Oh, is this the final one this week?
Final ones this week. This is the traditional cutoff date before the semifinals.
Okay.
So this will be the final rankings of the season, and he was going to make his debut. In compiling his stats for his debut, just eye-popping. Yes, granted, the first 3 years were on 8-man football, but still, wow. I invite everyone to take a look at those stats this season. And again, this season's, 11-man football. His stats are out of this world, and his win-loss record is really impressive. He's had an incredible career. And I'll also tease the all-world rankings. Not going to say who it is, but there may be a change on top.
Okay.
There might be a new number 1 player.
All right. That's all you're going to tell us?
That's all I'm going to say.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. We'll have to, when's that going to be in the paper and online, Barry?
Should be online Wednesday afternoon, and then Friday's edition. This week will be in Friday's edition because of the Thanksgiving holiday when we don't publish Thursday.
Oh, that's right. That's a note for everybody. No Tulsa World on Thursday. So, who should be on upset watch this week, Barry?
At this time of the year, I don't know if you could say there's really many major upsets. Bixby, you would consider it an upset if Edmond Memorial beat Bixby, even though it's number 4 versus 5. But everything, Bixby looks like it's back on track. Incredible win last week. Because we had our doubts about Bixby last week after losing their regular season finale, but then at halftime, it's 52-7 against the Norman North team, which was really hot going into that game. But when you look at Bixby lost to Norman in that regular season finale, and Inman Memorial just beat down Norman last week. So what does that mean for Bixby? It means Bixby better bring its A game. Sand Springs at Choctaw would also be an upset because Choctaw's eliminated Sand Springs in the playoffs the last 2 years and by good margins. But I think this is the time for Sand Springs to really take that step forward. They're playing really well. Easton Webb, their quarterback, Dom Forbes, a receiver, great connection. So this is the time for Sand Springs, perhaps.
Yeah. Tell us where you are going to be this week, Barry, and where's Bill Hastings going to be?
For the first time in a long time, we're going to be together. We're going to be spending all day in Claremore for the 6A1 doubleheader there.
And that's what Jenks-Owasso's at 1:30?
That's at Jenks-Owasso's at 1, and Bixby Edmond Memorial's at 7.
All right. Anything else on your mind, or shall we leave it there?
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Barry and I will be back next week, and we'll talk more high school football. Barry, always good to be with you. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Patrick.